Okay, so we're given an equation related to this Ferris wheel. It's in terms of x, so let's make a note of that. H in terms of x is 12 sine pi x over 8, and we have a plus 10. And it's raised an additional 5 meters. That's pretty easy to deal with. It also rotates at 3/4 speed, so we have to think about that one. We know that the change in speed is going to impact its period. So maybe start there. Period. And we take a look at this equation. We know that the period would be 2 pi over, and within that equation we have pi over 8. And fraction of a fraction, sometimes that's easier to deal with if we flip and multiply that. So let's do that. We see the pi's cancel out. We're left with 16. Now, 16 what? We look back at our question. It doesn't specify the time and the units there. It could be seconds, could be minutes. So we'll just leave it as 16 units. Okay, so now we're going at 3/4 speed. So let's talk about our new period. And we start off with 16 and 3/4 speed. So we have to think that the speed, or the rotational velocity of the Ferris wheel, now that's inversely proportional to the period. If it's going slower, then the period gets bigger. It takes more time to make one circle. So with inversely proportional like that, we know that the period is going to be bigger, and so we could just multiply this by 4/3. And so that's just our 3/4 speed flipped. And we'll end up with a bigger period. And so 16 times 4, 64, 3 on the bottom. Okay, so we have a new period. So let's determine what would that look like going into our equation. And so we can say 2 pi all over 64 over 3. Again, fraction of a fraction. Let's flip and multiply. And we have 6 pi over 64. And we see 6 and 64. We can reduce that a little bit. 3 pi over 32. And we can't reduce any further. So let's take that and we'll put it into our equation. And so the 12 stays the same. In our equation, we would now have 3 pi x over 32. Make that more clear. And that's in brackets. And then we will deal with the raised it an additional 5 meters. So instead of 10, we would have 15. And there we go, final answer.